Morning, folks. This morning's soap is brought to us by RazoRock The Stallion. The scent is oud. This is 125 millimeters, just over 4 ounces. This particular soap, when I got it, came with, I guess you might call it an extra lid. And that's what the soap looks like there on the inside. It's fairly firm inside the container. Easy to scrape out to put in a bowl. Whip up into a nice lather. I'll show you here in a moment. Got the alum block, no rubber band. Still got just a little bit of the unscented witch hazel that's mentholated. I'm going to follow up with the matching aftershave. Off camera I'll be using the Shaven Sailor beard oil. You might be able to see I'm more than halfway through the container there, it looks like. Shaver of the day is this is a Schick Injector Type N, and the best I can tell in research, which is kind of it's kind of tough finding research on it. In other words, I think this could take the twin blades. I'm just using the single blade though. One of these days maybe I'll spring for the for the twin blades, see how that works for me. But anyway, I got the lather whipped up here in the smooth bottom bowl here. That's what it looks like there inside the bowl, and got whipped up with Crown King synthetic knot. Whipped up pretty nice. I've already put a hot towel to the face this morning. It's a Monday morning for me. Got a little bit of the PAA Cube, what's left of it. Finding information on the Schick injectors, you'll have to really look for it, and especially when it comes to the twin blades. Not a whole lot of information out there, and really thinking for me probably my best source of information might be for the advertisements, and that's where I've found a little bit of a clue, I guess you might say, that this particular shaver might take the twin blades, in which those are not the easiest. You can find some, but they're not in production anymore, so I've been kind of apprehensive, and I'd like to try them, but I'm also concerned about trying them because then I'll like them, and knowing that since they're not in production, at least as far as I know they're not in production, if you like them, and then there you are. Trying something that you like that's not in production anymore, and because eventually they're not going to be, they'll be harder and harder to find. In other words, that'll be a shame. I don't know, maybe one day. I guess it'll be, something that you can at least try for one time. So at least you've tried it for one time, then pass it on to the next generation. But I guess you might say, in a way, not in the way of an injector, I have a Russian-made DE shaver that was made to take 2 DE blades, which is, boy howdy, that's a different shaver. December, yeah, I'll have to break that one back out too. Using 2 DE blades in that shaver, talking about an efficient shave, wow. And a different shave feel too. That's another one if you're in a hurry. Definitely that would be one to use, because it'll take that beard down in a hurry. Thinking you probably could get by with a single pass, especially if you're a daily shaver. Get by with going with against the grain and get a very smooth shave with it. I would go with the grain though. Against the grain, boy, That would be a tough one. Think wet the grain would be a bit smoother and you'd be alright. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but boy, this whipped up pretty big. There's a lot in that bowl. If you're wondering, I had the radio on, Boston was playing, so I got carried away again. It's a shame that you can't have the radio on, at least very loud, without getting in trouble with YouTube. It smells pretty good. As it goes for scent strength, oh, I would probably put this maybe middle of the road. It's not a real strong scent strength. It's there. I kind of mentioned this before about this handle length. It is it's a bit long for me. I think if I would shave with it, you know, like for about a week, it probably wouldn't take all that long for me to get used to it, get accustomed to a shaver with a handle this long. It's just it's a little nicer to use something shorter. I do know that the shorter ones, the ribs, they're somewhat more pronounced. I guess you might say a little bit more grippier. It seemed to be more on the plastic side of rubber, I should say. This is more on the plastic side. At least it has that feel to it. Both of them are plastic. Very smooth shave though. I say between the Hydro Magic and this one here, this Type N, this one here is a smoother shaver. But boy, that's that first pass is very nice. I think if I remember right, this was the next to the last one injector made, if I remember right. They're not too terribly tough to find on eBay, and not all that expensive either. Wow, I whipped up way too much lather. I've got hordes of it. I mean, look at all that. There's probably at least 3 more shaves in that bowl. Like I said, Boston was playing, so couldn't exactly turn the radio off in the middle of Boston. This is a pretty good knot too in this brush. I did buy a couple of his knots when Douglas was selling them. Not too terribly sure why I guess you might get to pick somebody's brain, somebody that was around that used the twin injector, why that one didn't seem to stick around. Wonder if it had more to do with the shave wasn't that much different than a single. Or was it just the cost of the blades compared to the single, and that the shave wasn't that much different? That would make sense to me. I could understand that. Because you've already got a pretty efficient shaver. Something that gives you pretty smooth shaves. And then you're trying to double up on the blades, increase the cost, and the shave is that much better, or not any better, than what you already was offering up before. I can see that. Guess you might say it's kind of hard to top what you already had out there. Trying to capitalize on the idea, or there's something new, so something new has to be better, when it necessarily wasn't. You know how it is. You see something new and shiny and everybody wants it. Did you see the, looking through Etsy and eBay, I did see a case for an injector that I hadn't seen. It looked pretty cool. Don't shop for injectors much anymore. I've got a few injectors and I'm quite happy with them. The injectors I'm interested in are kind of expensive, so I don't look for them that much, at least especially right now. Because most of the ones I'm interested in are over, well, you know, around the $100 mark. The older ones, the very early ones that are, you know, just, to me, the design, the engineering of them are just fantastic. And I know that I'm not in a position to get one of those right now. It's going to be a while. And not only that, I get one, I know I'm going to want to use it on a regular basis. And I don't know, it's sometimes on these older shavers, I don't know if I guess you might say they are, you know, getting around the 100-year mark. Sure would hate to, guess you might say, use it that one too many times. I have to say this is going to have a pretty nice post-shave feel. Got a little bit of a late start this morning. Slow moving on a Monday morning. It's down, low's going to be, in other words, it's below freezing again this morning. Temperatures all over the place. We had a warm day on Friday. Saturday was kind of warm. Sunday turned off fairly cool. Low last night. Low freezing. Then it's going to warm up around 50. Did get my flu shot, so I should be okay. If that's the strand that's floating around this year. Remember, I went several years without getting a flu shot. And there was the one year that I did get the flu, was the strand that was floating around that the flu shot wasn't for. That was the year I got the flu. Yeah, that was about my luck, wasn't it? I was thinking, like, I got the flu shot. Surely I didn't get the flu, but it sure does feel like that's what I got. Went to the doctor and like, yep, sure. That's what I ended up with. I ended up with the flu. Yeah, that's the way it works sometimes. Alright. See what this out block has to say today. Got some stinging right there, which is kind of strange. You know, sometimes when you're shaving, you can kind of tell when you're going to end up with some stinging. Yeah, it's going to... There's just a teeny tiny bit left. I mean, I am right at the bottom of my witch hazel. Awfully good stuff here. I don't know if I can keep on squeezing just a little bit more out of this container. It's like, is there just a little bit more magic left in this bottle? Man, that does feel good on the face, though. That and on my head. I might be able to squeeze 2 out of there. I don't know. It's going to be tough, I tell you. It does feel good on my face. Feeling that cooling sensation on the face. I know I mention it from time to time, but it does. It reminds me of Barbado. Putting Barbado on the face and that cool, that sensation of what it does to my face. Matter of fact, I'm saving Barbado for December. That's what I'm doing. Definitely going to be using it in December because that aftershave is just awesome. I might bring it back at the end of this month and the end of December because I really like that aftershave. I have to be careful because otherwise I'll be using it every week. Anyway, here's the aftershave. I'll show you the restrictor here in a moment. I normally do. This one here is pretty typical of RazoRock's restrictors. It's about, like I say, it's pretty typical about the size that you'll find in RazoRock's aftershaves. Now, for my nose, it's kind of hit and miss on how long the aftershave will last. The scent strength, for me, it's, like I say, it's hit and miss. Sometimes, you know, it might be a couple hours. Sometimes it might be 4. Just depends on the scent. This one here, I would say closer to 2 for me, my nose. But I wouldn't trust my nose because some days it doesn't work very well. Some days it's closer to not at all. In other words, first thing in the morning I might pick up the scent, and then, you know, shortly thereafter I'm not smelling much of anything, regardless of what it is. But at any rate, I had a great shave, and like I said, it whipped up really nice. If you're wondering how RazoRock's soap whips up, I don't have a problem getting it to whip up to a nice lather. Had a great shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves.